San Antonio Spurs made the NBA Finals. But will their immaturity end up backfiring on their chances to win the championship? Let's dive in. I think there's a big chance that the immaturity with the San Antonio Spurs, and frankly just being too young, might backfire on the biggest stage that they've ever faced. Basically, my thought process is Stephon Castle and Vassell, they might actually cost this team, whether it's free throws, technicals, turnovers, and stuff like that. Because even in Game 7, you've seen Vassell kind of keep lingering on, questioning calls, which is normal, but he just wouldn't let it go. And I think that's the biggest thing with them, especially with Stephon Castle. It's obvious that in Game 7 of the Western Conference Finals, Alex Caruso was getting in his head, and he was biting on everything that Alex Caruso was doing. And in the biggest stage, you have to have composure. You could not let your emotions show like that, because especially the Knicks playing in New York, dealing with the big stage all the time, they're going to eat you alive, no matter if you have Wemby on your team or not. San Antonio Spurs are crazy, super talented. They're not supposed to be here this fast. Wemby is only 22 years old, which is just crazy to think about. Castle is still young. Dylan Harper is a rookie. His team is built around length, defense, confidence, athleticism, and being fearless at this young age. Maybe not realizing what they're actually doing and accomplishing. And that's why they're scary. And to their credit, they don't look at the Knicks like we're just happy to be here. They really believe that they can take them. And honestly, they should. Wemby is honestly playing like the best player in the world already. De'Aaron Fox gives them that veteran knowledge and experience. And Stephon Castle has already had big moments in this postseason. And the Spurs have enough talent to beat anybody. But in my opinion, they're not going to beat the Knicks. But let's keep going. Because the finals are different. The finals expose all your bad habits. And I believe immaturity and not being able to let go might be the Spurs' only weakness. It's the bad turnovers, it's rushing shots because the crowd gets loud. The main thing that is an epidemic in the NBA anyway is arguing with the refs consistently and not worrying about getting back on defense or about making your issue with the referee. It's missing one box out because you could rely on Wemby, and it's trying to hit the home run when you just need to make that extra pass. And the Spurs have had moments like that. And we've seen how emotions could get crazy, how you might lose your grip on your emotions, especially going back to Wemby and Naz Reid, that famous elbow that altered the postseason. And that was a learning curve, I believe, for the San Antonio Spurs. Not because Wemby suddenly became immature, but because every possession gets more physical and your emotions get tested and things may cross the line that you got to bite your tongue with. And the New York Knicks are not going to play pretty. They're going to attack the glass. They're going to make Wemby work before he even touches the ball. They're going to drag the Spurs into a street fight. Because honestly, I don't think Wemby was tested last series because Chet dropped the ball. So this is the first real test in the finals. And that's where the Spurs got to be careful. Because the Knicks' path to winning this series is not beating the Spurs with talent. It's making the Spurs uncomfortable. Making the young guys rush. It's making the Spurs feel pressure at every possession. Besides the immaturity, Wemby has to be great. And he has to be composed. Wemby is already great. That part is not up for debate. But he's got to control his emotions. Because even in the Western Conference Finals, after losing a game, Wemby didn't want to talk to the media. And while that might not seem big, honestly, he couldn't control his emotions enough to just deal with his obligation that he's done all season. So in the NBA Finals against the New York Knicks, Wemby's greatness has to come with control. He can't let the refs take him out mentally. And he's got to be a mentor to the older players, which sounds weird, like he was in the Western Conference Finals, to control their emotions as well. He can't make physical defense force him to make bad shots. He can't chase down every block and leave the backside open. He can't get baited into unnecessary fouls. They're going to hit him. They're going to flop. Honestly, Jalen Brunson is probably number 2 to SGA in that regard, so they need to be prepared for that. They're going to make him feel every bit of the moment. And if Wemby stays calm, Spurs can win this series. But if he gets sped up emotionally, Spurs can lose games. But if he gets sped up emotionally, the Spurs can lose games. They're talented enough to win. But let me know what you think. Your opinion counts. Drop a comment. Tell me if you think that the Spurs are too immature for the moment in the NBA Finals this year, or if they're will hold it together and win this championship this year against the New York Knicks. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. This has been The Authentic Take. The real, no fake.
ThaAuthenticTake. Yeah, the real no fake.